Good morning and welcome to the 2025 Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor's Small Business Academy. This is our 10 a.m. session on Thursday, May 8th. Some advice from successful small business owners. And now I turn the program over to Ina Willemsens, President, Executive Director of the Wisconsin Procurement Institute, to lead our discussion.
Thanks, Michael. And good morning to everyone as our participants come online. Hello, Jen.
Hi, Ina.
And it looks like we have another one coming in. Hello, London. And I think we have one more, two more. Hello, Maria. And Adam will be joining us as well. There we go. Good morning, everybody. During this session, oh, we lost Adam. I'll start and I'm sure he'll join us back. Oh, there he comes. What we're going to be, all you guys have done great in business. I'm sure it hasn't been an easy path. There's much more to go. Some of you have journeys that are a few years. Some have journeys that are a lot longer than that. You do different things. You have different stories. So we're gathered here today basically to share some of your pain and some of your success, and hopefully inspire some of the attendees on the session. Adam, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just not quite sure why I'm not getting the webcam to show up here.
When you can, we'll just pretend you're there. Now your name is at least showing up, so we kind of know you're there. So yeah. Thank you for joining us. Let's start with introductions. There you go. Thank you. Great. We're going to start with introductions. So please introduce yourselves, your business, a little bit of a commercial here. Take advantage of that. Jen, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Ina. I'm Jen Adamski. I am the founder of Clario. I started this marketing consultancy to help small teams and business support organizations really make sense of marketing and help them get things done with impact. So we work on things from strategy to hands-on support to AI training, but our goal is really to help bring clarity and momentum to the work that really matters most and things that I'm most passionate about. And I follow our Wisconsin state motto, just to helping folks and orgs move forward.
And you're located where?
Based out of Racine, Wisconsin.
Thank you. London? You're muted.
Go ahead, London.
Oh, can you hear me, guys?
Now we gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, London Thomas, the owner operator of White Glove Group, White Glove Environmental. We're established and incorporated in the state of Wisconsin in 2002 and licensed through the Department of Health and Family Services to provide environmental, i.e. asbestos and lead abatement consulting, facility management, and compliance services to the construction industry. We are MBE and DBE and SBE certified. Let's not forget the National Minority Supply Diversity Council being dated back as 2003. In our 23 years of business, we have employed over 500 community residents. We've taken over 1,000 applications, in most cases assisting in the infrastructure of the city of Milwaukee, inclusion and workforce development goals. We are active members of the African American Chamber of Commerce and the NAACP, and we believe that our involvement has positively influenced the direction of disparity in the African American community. If you want to learn more about us, you can go to our website, www.wgenvironmental, and good morning to all.
Thank you, London. Thanks for joining us this morning. Maria?
Hi, my name is Maria Pearl. I'm the owner of Sparkles Metal Works. We are a metal fabrication shop located in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. We are state and federal certified as woman and minority small business. And we provide services as welding, laser cutting, but we also have temporary structures that we provide to build stages for Super Bowl, UFC, and we are also partners with Infinite Structures now. And we manufacture all the Infinite Cube, which has been used for what was recently used for the compound for Fox at the Super Bowl. So we are very proud that all the components that they're worldwide being used, they're manufacturing here.
Thank you for joining us. Adam?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Adam Skenador. I'm the owner of NASA Traffic Control Services. We do lane closure and flagging operations for the utility and WSDOT sector here in the Midwest. Been in business for about 3 years. We are located, our main is out of Butler, Wisconsin, and we do have a few smaller locations in the Fox Valley area that we handle traffic control for. Been in business for about 3 years, grew that from 2 to about 86 employees. And we are signatory to unions around the area. Most recently did the NFL draft and provided them with traffic control, and that was pretty awesome. Nice to meet everybody.
That was. I'm glad you mentioned that. Maria, you also were involved. Well, you're involved with the NFL. So as we go through this, we have 4 businesses here that do very different work, right? Have very different directions of their business. Now I'm gonna ask everyone to share their journey a little bit. Why did you do this in the first place? Why did you start a business? I mean, people encourage it, but it's not easy. It's hard, right? It's not a straight line. It's not like in a year you're going to be successful and able to retire, right? So Jen, I'll start with you again. Give us your story. Tell us, why and how you got to where you are today.
Definitely. Thanks, Ida. And I can definitely say I have the baby business of the group. We are less than a year old, and I can say I'm definitely not retired yet. So I can affirm that is the case. But I started Clario. I had worked in corporate and as in-house marketing for some years. Also worked in the public space, and I often saw how folks that were really doing the most important work, like chambers and support, like economic development organizations, public sector teams, didn't necessarily have the time or the tools or the resources to make marketing as impactful as it could be. So in my past life, I had spent over 7 years managing government contracts in past roles. And I volunteer as vice chair of the Community Development Authority in Racine. So I've seen both sides, both from writing proposals and reviewing them. So that experience kind of shaped how I approach partnerships today. So Clario combines that background with years of marketing strategy. So we help people get unstuck and build plans and then follow through, whether that's strategy, content, or workshops. So as I mentioned, we're young. We are a women-owned business in our first year, and we're starting the process to get WBE certified because I see the value in that as I'm looking at these government contracts. I also collaborate actively with certified veteran and DBE-owned businesses to team up on larger projects already. So as far as how to get started, I have to give credit where it's due. Programs like BizStarts really helped me build confidence and shape my business early on. And WPI, shout out to Jack, who was just on.
Thank you.
He walked me through my capability statement, which we heard about just prior hour, getting set up on SAM.gov step by step, which can be overwhelming, but he made that whole process a lot easier to navigate. So just wrapping up, at the heart of it, we're about helping people who help others, because when those teams are supported, our communities all move forward.
Thank you, Jen. London, why did you start your business? And I know we met years and years ago, right? And the change between then and now is striking. So share a little bit.
I was privileged to kind of step into a situation already. White Glove Janitorial was the initial company that provided janitorial services. I once was an employee of it. My means of resources for my journey was a little bit different. I wanted to provide a different direction for my friends. A lot of people were going in the wrong directions, and we needed a platform that I can give them that we could focus on something that we could make a living off of. And so for me personally, I acquired White Glove Janitorial in 2002. The thing is that I realized I didn't have a business plan in my first 2 years. And I'm gonna be totally honest, my journey was different because of people like Ina and people like Dr. Rose and people like Randy Crump. You know, they've had building capacity programs for us, and I was too young to appreciate it. And they parented us. Where are you at? How come you didn't show up? You know, I felt like I was in trouble. So the things that I should have been doing, I was kind of in trouble for not doing it. And years involved, when I finally had a business plan, it gave me guidance and direction. Unfortunately, when I put that business plan together, it was a modern day recession and janitorial was out the door. So we had to pivot. I did have a mentor, Rick Smith, the owner and operator of CG Smith was my mentor. They ripped my company apart. And we identified some small things, which happened to be environmental. We made more, we did more in a shorter amount of time, and it gave us an emphasis. So we pivoted into environmental services. I think that was good for us because it required guys to have continuing education credits and they transitioning to professionals. So if you weren't licensed and certified to do lead or asbestos, it just left you in a different space. So it improved our company and to that benefit. But in year 20, I want to be honest that I felt like I may have crashed the bus because in year 20, I was exhausted. That's the brick wall. You think you're doing good in business. You have contracts. You have inventory. You have money coming. You think you've made it, but typically this is where you crash out at. So at 50 years old, I had to go back to the SBA program, take that program again, and realize that I didn't know anything about business. And so with that being said, I do suggest everybody get a mentor, identify your tribe, and come up with a plan. So that's my advice.
Thank you, London. Thank you, London. Maria, why did you start your business, and tell us about your journey?
Well, my journey is, I feel like it's particular. I mean, we all come from different places. I was born and raised in Mexico. I went to medical school in Cuba with a scholarship. I graduated as a doctor. So my background is medical. I came to the States, married my husband, and I saw the opportunity of building this modular structures and this contracts that they were set aside for women and minority, and that's how I made the jump. It was also the getting those opportunities and say yes, even if I was feeling fearless, which I think that it's a lot of what happens to small businesses when we start. It's like I'm not sure like if I'm going to be able to do it, but just jump and figure it out. Put all your fears on the side and surround yourself with a great team. I have a very, very good team with a lot of experience that have been able to support the whole operations. So my journey has been taking the opportunities. That's why also we put the name on SparkUps. We value the opportunities that we get and we work to just make it better.
Thank you. Adam, why did you start your business, and tell us about your journey?
Yeah, so in 2009, I started as a traffic tech flagger for a large utility company that was involved in gas and electric installation and repair. You know, worked my way up through the ranks there, went to lead, you know, get back to just getting involved in traffic control and active vision. I absolutely loved it. It was something that was new. We were playing in on the highway, you know, moving traffic over and all that stuff. So it was just a great thing. I really found my niche. So in that time, like I said, I worked my way up to lead, to foreman over the years. Then I was a supervisor. 2018, there was a chance for me to be area manager of Region 10, which was multiple states over the traffic and restoration division, and I won that. I think it was 4 months later they asked me to be general manager, and which was a great opportunity. I thank that company for everything they've done for me and all the experience that I got. with that being said, in that amount of time that I was, you know, going through the different levels, I had like 5 or 6 different general managers. It's just the type of business that it is. Now, I knew that I wasn't, because I didn't have a higher education. I wasn't going to go anywhere. I hit what I call the glass ceiling. I didn't know much about the gas or electric industry. And those are the kind of guys that went up to that next, like, VP level status and beyond. So there was just I reached the top with that company. And like I said, I give all thanks to that company for getting me in and supporting me and also, you know, raising me up to these different locations. And even though I didn't have a background or college degree, that I was able to do it just off of hard work. Then there was an opportunity for me to get into traffic control. So I spent, I needed a place to start. So I reached out to the SBA and I got in with one of their members there, and we started to meet and we built a business plan, not a traffic control plan, a business plan. And I want to say we spent a good 4 to 5 months on that. Then it was time to get out and meet a couple of your bigger banks, your commercial banks. And I was getting great reviews. The business plan was good. Everything was good. The amount of money I was asking for to get started up, they couldn't, because I didn't have that kind of skin in the game. You know, they're looking for a couple $100,000 to have down. So it was kind of back to start, and that's where then I was introduced to the CDFIs in Wisconsin. They kind of took me in, and we scaled back, you know, our startup, and they seen everything that we were doing, and they chose to back me, and that's how I got started in the business.
And now, where are you at?
So now we, like I said, we went from 2 employees, myself and my nephew who came with me. We're about 87 or 88 union employees. We are in multiple states. We are just now graduating from the CDFIs into commercial lending. So the banks are opening their doors up, which opens up a lot. There's more capital there. There's more opportunity there. Like I said, we just did the draft. We have blanket contracts, and you know, thank God every day that we're able to do what we do, and the growth has been outstanding. We have daily like 25 flagging crews out, you know, in the state of Wisconsin, and about 6 delivery drivers. So
Awesome.
we're pretty good.
I'm gonna have you start kind of go to what you were saying. It sounds like the initial financing was one of your big obstacles in
Yes.
getting your business going. What would you
Yes.
recommend to someone looking to start a business? Would you have done something different? What would you advise them to do differently? So I'm assuming that gave you that lagged the potential growth that your business could have had because of the money part. What would you suggest to someone to not have to make a better decision maybe as they start their business?
So I think what makes this particular startup a little bit different. So I had the background, I've had the history of doing what I was looking to jump into, which is key. I did the business plan. You know, business plans are great. Not a lot of people look at those or put worth in it. They want to see, do you have the history? What's your 3 to 5 year outlook? And is it making money? Like anything, if you're going to go into that business, you probably should find out exactly, like I didn't, like what the financials would be just to get started up. So say I was going to ask the bank for 1.5 million, which is a crazy number out of the gate, and not having 20% down, it would be something that I would probably redo again. But like I said, there are other means to make that work. Like I said, I went up with the CDFIs in Wisconsin. There was actually 2 of them, the FACC and WinLIF, the Wisconsin Native Loan Fund. But I also had to spend time with them, show them my vision, and work with them so they can get caught up with that. So for me, it was basically understanding what I was asking for financially, and did I have that backing? So then I had to put my house up for collateral, all that stuff that kind of went into it. It was a risk, right? But
Yep.
there's no reward without risk. So, and I'm way out of the woods. I got like at least another 3 to 5 years before you can say you're successful or doing everything, well, and you can be a little comfortable. Right now, it's all hands on deck, making sure that we're making this operation run smoothly. And so, like I said, my biggest thing to tell people is just make sure that you're ready for that step. If the financial load is higher, I guess, or anything, just make sure that you know what you're doing when you're doing the business. Don't just out of the whim say you want a truck drive if you've never done that or don't have a CDL kind of thing.
No one's going to listen to you, right? No one's going to listen to you if you're not ready.
What widgets you're doing, I guess, or which widget you're trying to sell, I guess. Make sure you have a background in that.
Good advice, Adam. Jen, what was your biggest obstacle, and what advice would you give someone starting a business so they don't have to go through the pain that you went through?
Oh my goodness. For me, the biggest challenge wasn't really the work. It was fear around stability and money. So I had wanted to start a venture back in college, but I didn't feel like I had the stability. So for those of you that are just starting off in your journey and it feels impossible, I can say, like, you can do it. It takes a heck of a lot of work and connection and resources, but it's possible. So I had some major setbacks in life. About 6 years ago, I had a divorce that left me at zero. I was facing housing instability, and I was also caring for my disabled veteran father and a young son all at the same time. So I had to shift from a scarcity mindset to really believing that I could build something stable and sustainable. So during that process, I tracked every dollar. I got really serious about budgeting, which is really helpful now as a business owner. I used the Financial Empowerment Center through the city of Racine, which was really encouraging and not as scary as I thought it would be, as is the case with a lot of these resources. So I started celebrating small financial wins, rebuilt from zero after being used to surviving and not investing in myself. And then unfortunately, about a little over a year ago, experienced my first ever job loss. So that was just another challenge there, but it took me maybe this to realize it's my chance to start my own thing. So I reached out to Catherine at SBDC, shout out to Catherine, and she told me all the forms I needed to complete, all of the things. And literally the next day I told her, okay, I've got this filed, I submitted this form, and she has been a tremendous resource.
Awesome.
So knowing, I think, all of the numbers personally has helped empower me and feel much more comfortable calming the fear with starting a business. So I would say, if I had advice, don't ignore the money stuff, build your stability. And even if you start with nerding out like spreadsheets like I do, and shopping at garage sales, like, do what you need to do because this journey is worth it.
Thank you, Jen. London, what was your biggest obstacle, and what would you advise a business not to do to make it easier, or not to do the same, I'll call it a mistake, not to make the mistake you made to make the journey smoother?
Okay. Yeah, well, definitely. I made a lot of mistakes for sure. But I would say our biggest obstacle that we had to overcome was scaling our company, because we didn't know what that looked like. In the past, we had a lot of great ideas. We didn't have any analytics, no metrics. We didn't know how to measure these goals. So we didn't know exactly how to get there. So scaling your company is challenging. And then also, in order to scale, our staff had to grow. And so for me, I was thinking, okay, I'll put this great incentive package together that makes guys want to do more, participate more, be more involved in what we have going on. But I did realize, in order to put that incentive package together, it came with consequences that may even cost you your job. So it's something that we had to think about. It became challenging to scale our company. And again, it required me to look at who I was as a leader. Because let's be honest, a lot of us in the beginning at some point own a job, and we don't own a business because we're putting in all this work. We're the last to be compensated, first to be there, the last to leave. And so it's tough on us as business owners. So you really have to sit down and ask yourself who you are as a leader. For me, I was compassionate about the community. So our motto was everyone is hired until you're fired. And we wanted to give everybody an opportunity. And then we had an opportunity to give them a skill set. Okay, we can get you guys certified by the state of Wisconsin. You know, by taking a class, we could change, you know, the direction of your livelihood. So, but it was still left up to the staff. So scaling our company was the obstacle. My piece of advice is know what type of leader you are. You know, are you compassionate? Are you driven? Are you evasive? And also too, I'm gonna say mentorship, because for me, I'm now telling people in our environmental industry that we're a community. And, you know, I typically see them on a competitive situation, but we're a community. We could drive down our market, we could bring our market up. So the more associations that I was a part of, mentorship programs, non-threatening atmospheres that I can interact with some of these guys, it worked out to our best. So my piece of advice is, 1, have a business plan. 2, have a mentor. And 3, revise that business plan every couple months.
Thank you, London. Maria, what would you advise companies from a mistake you made or an obstacle you had to make it easier for them?
To me, it was getting out of the business. I heard that so many times and I couldn't understand it until it really hit me. You can do great at your business, but if nobody knows you, nobody's gonna buy from you. People's not gonna recommend you need to build that networking. So you also have to set aside a couple hours to get out, present yourself, put yourself out, put your work out, and speak about that. Because networking and asking for help, to me, it's like fundamental. Like, there are so many resources out there, so many. I mean, WPI have been awesome for us. Like, they took our hand and just guide us through the whole process that can seem overwhelming. So, but that would have not happened if we were not have been that day at Marketplace. So sometimes we feel as business owners that we have to be here before opening the doors, after closing the doors, but we also have to make that time to, we're located in Fond du Lac, so gotta make time to go to Milwaukee, go to Green Bay, go to these places and just say like, hey, we are here, and what can I learn from others, and what other help can I get?
Good advice from all of you. Let's talk a little bit about certifications. Jen, you said you are in the process of getting a certification.
Yeah, so we're starting that process soon because I see the visibility that it can add there. So Jack, when we went through our session, even pulled up existing women-owned businesses that were in my area doing what I do, and it's a very short list. So it does help you stand out. So I realize the value in that. And I'm also working with certified partners, like I mentioned, the veteran and DBE certified already to help build capacity.
And it's an important element for your business. So I'm glad that you're going forward on that. London, do you have any small business certifications, and how do you leverage those?
Yeah, I pretty much have them all. I've been certified probably for the last 20 years. And again, I'm from the old certification group where they held the contractors accountable and not just the subcontractors. And so not only did we not show up, but hey, listen, you're telling me that you can't find these small businesses and we're not buying it because we know them. So again, for myself, every certification started with the National Minority Supply Diversity Council with Dr. Rose. You know, big ups to him.
You can tell I'm old school because I know who you're talking about. So, you know.
But again, when he introduced me to the certification, you know, he took me to Harley Davidson, SC Johnson, Crabb, Johnson Control, you know, these like big agencies that were just way above me, but it gave me an opportunity to grow into that. So for us, we've always maximized our certifications. It has taken me into rooms that I probably wouldn't be able to get into by myself. And I do recommend that's the first step for small businesses.
Maria, your certifications and how have you leveraged them?
So SparkUps is certified as state and federal small business, woman and minority owned. And again, we saw the opportunity. If you pull that list of woman-owned business in manufacturing, metal manufacturing, in Wisconsin, we're like 3.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
Yes.
a tiny list.
Yes, it's very, very tiny. So there's a big opportunity for us leveraging that and proving with our portfolio our capabilities. I have
Thank
to
you.
say
Oh,
one
okay.
thing. When I started when I started the journey of certifications, there was 2 things that I keep hearing. 1, you have to be patient. 2, it's going to take forever. We had our federal certification, which was like the longest that it was going to take, in 11 months. We had a lot of help from Mary Stillman, from Ina, from the WPI team, but 11 months was nothing. You know, like, you hear all these things. Oh, why do you even try? Like, it's going to take forever, and it's not.
Well,
You
11
gotta do your
months sounds
homework
like
too.
forever. I mean, you know, let's be real, but it is part of in the certification process. Anytime the initial package is found not to be completed or not to be, you know, answering not all the forms are there, it delays everything. So the better you can do it the first time around, the quicker it goes. And now I believe all but one certification is online. So that assists too, and you don't have to do, I mean, London and old school here. In the old days, certifications were this much documentation that you had to like walk in and give it to someone. Now pretty much everything is online. But again, you have to make sure that you have all the documents. You have your corporate papers, your tax papers, you're not in arrears on things, that there's no issues in general, business issues. And your certifications will go through relatively quickly. Again, federal, state, local, they each have their nuances, but it's do it right the first time and it'll flow through much easier. Thank you, Maria. Adam, how have you leveraged your certifications, and which
So
ones do you have?
I have the DBE and 2 MBEs. So kind of getting into getting those, they have a layout of how what you need to get done in order to achieve that stuff. And it's kind of like your business. So you should have all that paperwork. And I know it looks like a lot, and they are going to get intrusive and look into your financials and all that stuff. So you have to be ready for that. But the upside is to getting your certifications is the networking and the programs and the people that are immediately there to help you succeed. It's like you're getting a whole new group of friends that want to see your business be successful. And I think that's part of being successful, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, right? So when, like, say the DBE, they have different conferences throughout the year, get out and network. You know, put your name out there, your brand out there, you know, and then follow that up by doing successful work, quality craftsmanship work. And all that stuff just leads to more. In the 3 years being open, I think we have a little over 100 different customers that we work for. A lot of that is through years of doing quality work, networking, just getting to know people in the industry. But a lot of that is just picked up from people that we go and network in different areas from that involve the type of business that we're in. So that's probably one of the bigger pluses in having the DBE or the MBE certificates, is being able to network. Now, I always tell people that we have to perform like we don't have that certification. In case that certification were to ever go away, I still want to be viable. So we have to make sure that we're doing the right things, you know, just like any other company out there. So that's kind of my overall view on it.
I'm sorry, Adam.
No, I was just saying that's my overall view on that. And like I said, basically it's networking, getting out there, using that to your advantage, and meeting people, you know.
Well, and remember too, even if you're certified, you're competing, right?
Exactly.
Maria made a comment. I mean, in manufacturing, and a woman in a minority she's in a unique situation there. That's not as competitive if you're looking at it from that perspective. But in general, if you pull up your all the DBEs that are listed in your group, or I'm sorry, I'm in a hotel room doing this, so we'll just ignore that for now. If you would excuse me, I'll do this. So now I lost my train of thought here. But you are going to still be competing. There's no way around it, right? So once you are certified, do learn who your competition is. I think that's critical, because don't assume that you don't have it. You might be really good at what you do. You may not see it in your immediate environment, but do take a look at who you're competing with and make sure that you differentiate, as was talked about in the prior session, that the differentiators, I think Suzanne mentioned it from HGA, your differentiators are critical to what you do. Because if someone else can do what you do, you have to take that step up, whether you're certified or not.
Ina, can I add on to that real quick?
Absolutely.
Well, again, old school, certifications, actually people frowned upon them, because typically if you were certified, they were forcing you to use somebody that you didn't want to use. And typically for us, being certified, that means you had to be undereducated. You had to have come from, dire circumstances or have a tarnished background in order to fit these qualifications. So for us, the certification and being certified was a challenge. And I think we had to grow into that space. So now small businesses now really don't realize how good they have it and how supportive the certification agencies are. And it was very important for you guys, or for us, is to take advantage of the old regime while they're here. That's all I have to say. And thank you for everything, Ina. Thank you.
Well, and I agree with you, London. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and as a matter of fact, I was in the corporate world when Dr. Rose was starting his mission in this space. So there's been a lot of changes, and we're not going to get into current changes, but things have changed. And in the old days, oftentimes too, it was certifications were looked at as a negative, not a positive, by various agencies and individuals. So things have come a long way. What wisdom, you guys have all been doing this for a while. Some of you have shared this a little bit, but if you're going to play mentor now and share your wisdom on, our audience is a mixture from those considering starting a business, those starting a business, those have been in business for a little bit. What, as a mentor, what would you share with them? Jen, I'm going to start with you again. What's your wisdom that you can put out there?
That's a big one. I think Maria mentioned the time networking. My BizStarts mentor, when I first started, he challenged me to spend half of my time networking, and I thought that man was crazy. So there's no way. How am I going to do this? So I color coded my calendar, because I'm a nerd like that. And if there wasn't enough networking time on my calendar, then I needed to challenge myself to get out there and connect. And like Maria said, it's not just staying here. It's sometimes driving to Milwaukee. It's driving around the state if you need to, getting on and putting yourself out there, even when your introvert might not enjoy that. Like, go for it and put yourself there, because it's not just about going solo in terms of like business generation, but collaboration and finding those ways to connect. Like, if I know someone that needs something, I can connect them to that person. You can get referrals that get you further faster. So find the right rooms. Not all the rooms are the right rooms, but find the rooms that you fit in. One of my first government contracting ops happened because someone that I passed a card to, completely unrelated event, gave a card to somebody in a health department, and they didn't know about me, and they wouldn't have, except for this person passing on my business card. So that unexpected word of mouth can, one conversation can change your trajectory. So that's my one piece. And then alongside that is building the right team to scale responsibly. So my mentor also said, find partners who are all in, who aren't side hustling. I get a little disillusioned trying to find people that were, my cousin Vinny does this and you should use him. Well, guess what? Those cousins and all that, that's not the greatest way to approach trying to build a successful business that delivers quality. So finding folks that were also in the same space, that had the same passions and vision that I do, led to stronger execution and reliability, because like London says, you still have to deliver. at the end of the day. So those partnerships really made a difference for me. And I could say like 2 more things, but I don't want to steal the time.
Okay, make them really short, but say 2 things, but just really short.
I would say 1, use the resources, they're here to help you. And 2, refine your scope, like to clarify what your offer is, because it makes businesses easier to refer to you and contract with you.
Thank you. London, what's your wisdom as a mentor?
My wisdom as a mentor is one, to have a mentor. Currently
And you
23 years.
mentioned that before. It's a very strong statement, and it's so important.
I mean, again, I've learned from my mistakes. And so one is to have a mentor. You know, I'm 23 years in business and I have a mentor. 2, have a coach. I also have a coach. 3, have an accountability partner. Shout out to Michael Harper. That's my accountability partner, someone who tells me stuff that I don't want to hear and always challenges me. And so, again, and also find your audience and find your tribe, you know, and look upon your trade as a community. So that's my words of wisdom.
Thank you. And you said something very important, I think, is, and again, we work with a lot of businesses, and sometimes businesses don't want to hear what's being said. And as someone that's going to go into business, you're probably going to hear a lot of things that you don't want to hear, or comments about maybe things that could be done better, or some advice or some wisdom. Take it as a positive, not a negative. You know, London's smiling. It's sometimes hard to say things, but do hear them. And you may not like it at the moment, but do think about it and see if there is wisdom to it as you move forward. Maria, your thoughts as a mentor?
Allow yourself to be flexible and diversify your own thoughts. I apply that to myself because I was raised with the idea that I could only be a doctor. And that was my only space. And now I allowed myself to be other things, to do other things that I really enjoy, and I am learning along the way. So yes, the sky's the limit. We came from different backgrounds. Sometimes society, our friends, our parents, our culture tells you, oh, you can only do this. But there's so many things in so many industries that you can jump and take those opportunities. So to me, that will be my piece of advice, that I would like other small business owners to get that. Allow yourself that. Just take the chance and work hard.
Thank you. Great advice. Adam, as a mentor, what would you share?
So the biggest thing for me would be to know what you're selling or making. You know, if just starting up, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, because there's going to be some times that when things get hard, things aren't going right. You know, if you have employees, they're looking at you to guide them through those hard times, and how you react is how they're going to react. You know, with that, get out and network. Surround yourself with like-minded people, you know, people that want to be successful. It doesn't matter what they want to be successful in, but if they're just looking to be successful, that'll you know, transfer over. It's just, that's a big thing. You know, you want to surround yourself with people that are going to help promote you, or you can promote them, or it's just something back and forth. Yeah, as far as the mentor, I actually was in a DBE mentorship program with the Wallbeck Group in Payne and Dolan, and those first couple of years, that was, you know, critical, everything. Just to be able to ask them questions. They're in a similar type situation. I can ask how to bid properly, or, you know, what are the steps for this and that, and they were there. So shout out to the Wallbeck Group for that, because that was awesome and needed. And to this day, I can still pick up that phone and call those contacts, you know, from just creating that part. Yes, I mean, it's just making sure, like I said, number one, you believe in yourself, believe that you can do it. When I first started, I walked away from a pretty decent salary, and I just had to believe that eventually we will get back there. And that was the right move for my family. And that's a really hard jump. It was a hard jump for my wife. You know, kids were there. You have a lot that you have to worry about. But if you believe in yourself, you know, and it may not work, but if you believe in yourself, you're giving yourself the best chance.
Thank you. Good, great words of wisdom. Last question for all of you is, what's next for your businesses? Jen, what's next for your business? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Yeah, so continuing to build in the public sector. You know, I've started with one health campaign and they want to do more work. So we'll see where those
Very
three
good.
things go. Teaming up on more contracting opportunities and just scaling the marketing training that I provide to help organizations kind of modernize their outreach. So excited to see already after a few months, they want to do more. So we'll keep
That's
building
great.
that.
Great news. Great news. London, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, currently we've expanded to Texas.
Wow.
We moved into a different space. I'm currently working on succession planning. I have 4 sons, which I'm passing on the labor to, and I'll just be doing more consulting, reporting, recommendations, and letting them do the legwork. But again, succession planning, we talked about it, analytics, metrics. Okay, who's going to take it? It may not even be my children. So what does that look like? And so that's what we're working on. So the next 3 to 5 years, hopefully we'll have the next generation in place.
And that's a difficult and stressful change in life. Best wishes on that. Maria, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
So we just recently acquired 24 acres in the city of Fond du Lac for expansion. So we are going to put the 4 locations that we are running right now into one roof. So rapid growth, but steady, reminding ourselves that this is a marathon. So taking it as slow as we can, but just firm steps.
Sounds good. Adam, where are you going to be in 5 years?
Tahiti, hopefully. Okay.
Okay, 3 years. Okay, 2 years.
So the realistic thing is just making sure that we're growing at a safe pace. It was such a huge jump in these first 3 years that we're really, you know, there's other states, there's chasing WISDOT work here. The sky's the limit as far as traffic control because there's so much stuff coming on. But we also might start to pick up that restoration portion that I initially had started when I put the plan together. Hopefully get that off the ground and up and running. And like I said, it's just watching the expansion safely, I guess, that we grow through over the next 5 years.
Awesome. It's been great to spend this hour with you guys. So glad to hear of your success. So sorry to hear about the bad parts, but I think that's part of any business start, right? Or any business journey is it's not a straight line. It's not a straight line pointing up. There's issues with money, with family. There's issues with work availability. We've gone through COVIDs. We've gone through, recessions and inflations and all sorts of things that will impact business depending on what you do. So I do thank you for your candor in sharing some of the good parts and the bad parts today. With that, I'll give a thank you, and I'm going to also next coming up at 11 o'clock. We're going to be Dr. Manzanet's going to be talking to some of the resource providers that have been mentioned over the last 3 hours, and these resources are at no cost to small businesses. We're at no cost to small businesses, SBDC, SCORE. There's a whole plethora of stuff out there. And what he's going to do is talk about, we're going to have I think 5-minute little briefs from all of them to kind of share what is available. Please use them. The connections, the contact information will be made available. It was confirmed to me that these sessions will be online. So if you missed something from the last 2 or 3 days, you will be able to watch yourselves depending on where you're sitting during this. So do take advantage of that. I'm going to say thank you to all the participants. Thank you, Jen, London, Anna, and Marie. thank you for sharing. Look forward to seeing you probably all at Marketplace, if not sooner, in December. And just thank you. And I'm going to go dark now, and we'll be setting up for 11 o'clock. Thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Show up for the in-person tomorrow if you can. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.